Good day everyone. This time I'm going to discuss about the art of questioning. So when we say art of questioning or questioning, it is a basis of teaching task, encourage recalling or deepen the learning process and comprehension, which is engaging students in the learning process. In short, it requires responses of the simple recall or memory type of answering. And questioning is the starting point of learning. So let's proceed to the 7 types of questionings according to purpose. First, assessing cognition. Second, verification. Third, creative thinking. Fourth, evaluating. Fifth, productive thinking. Sixth, motivating. And last is instructing. Assessing cognition is a type of questions is used to determine one's knowledge in understanding. So it simply means that it is a type of questioning that determines the knowledge or learning of a student. Just like for example, what is likely to happen if the ozone layer of the atmosphere continues to deteriorate? Second, why is sound heard louder when underwater than out of it? So, in these questions, teachers determine the understanding of students to a particular topic that have been discussed. Verification, it determines the exactness or accuracy of the result of an activity or performance. So it simply means that it determines the result of students' activity or performance. Example, was the weight of liquid displayed exactly the same as the weight of the object immersed in it? Second, why is the lightning seems before thunder is heard? By these questions or given activities, it verifies the exactness or accuracy of the student's learning by their response or answers. Creative thinking. It proves into one's originality. It simply means that it tests the originality of students on how they think creatively. Examples. How will you present the layers of the earth to your class? Stimulate the eruption of Mount Mayon. And how can you demonstrate soil-less gardening? By these questions, it helps students' thinking skills practice and develop by answering the questions with their own creative ideas. Evaluation. It elicits responses that includes judgments, value, and choice. It also asks personal opinion about an event, a policy, or a person. It simply means that it obtains responses or answers that may contain judgments, values, or even a choice. Example. Was your teacher's slide presentation well done? At this point, students will give their response or judgment based on the given question. Productive thinking. It includes cognitive reasoning, analysis facts, recognizes patterns or trends, and invoke memory and recall. Productive thinking is a types of questioning that leads students to think more effectively, and students used to distinct thinking into creative thinking and critical thinking. Examples. Why was our fourth secretary of the Department of Agriculture successful with a small landowner? Second, how can we apply the law of conservation of energy? In these questions, students use creative and critical thinking skills to look at the problem and to come up with a better response, answers, or a solutions. Motivating. Before discussing the lesson, a number of questions about the topic can serve to arouse their interest and focus attention. It attempts to put students in the right mood. Before the discussion started, teachers required to give a questions about the topic that may students catch or focus their attention to the discussion, and they will interested as well to the discussion. Examples: would you like to know how your favorite flower can remain fresh longer? Next, did you ever train a pet? Instructing. The question asks for useful information. It directs, guides, and advises on what and how to do an activity. Example: what are the steps in performing an experiment? So instructing, a question used or asked to give or provide instruction or information in a given activity. So let's proceed to the types of questions according to level or answer. So we have here low-level questions, high-level questions, convergent questions, and divergent questions. Low-level questions. They include memory questions or those that require simple recall. For example, define energy. State the first law of motion. Low-level questions have just a simple recall. High-level questions. These questions call for a respondent's ability to analyze, evaluate, and solve a problems. Example: what is the relationship between the distance of the planet and its period of revolution? Why does temperature rise towards noontime? High-level questions is a questions go beyond memory and factual information. Convergent questions. They are questions that requires a single predictable answer. It includes defining, stating, interpreting, and summarizing. For example, when does lunar eclipse occur? So convergent questions is a questions that has one best answer. Divergent questions. They require the respondents to think in a different directions, to think of alternative actions, or to arrive at own decisions. There are several possible answers. Examples: why are you voting for him? What will happen if you leave it under direct sunlight for a week? So divergent questions have many appropriate answers. Let's proceed to the questioning skills. So we have here varying type of questions: asking non-direct your questions, calling on non-volunteer, rephrasing, sequencing logically, requiring abstract thinking, asking open-ended questions, allowing for sufficient wait time, assessing comprehension, involving as many as possible. Varying types of questions. It asking convergent, divergent, and evaluate questions. Asking non-direct questions. Teachers present first the questions before he or she call students to answer. Calling on non-volunteers. Teachers don't just call students who raise their hands, but the students who don't as well. Rephrasing. If the teacher's question was not understood by the students, he or she should repeat the questions in a simple or other way. Sequencing logically. It asking related questions from simple to complex. Requiring abstract thinking. This means going beyond simple recall questions, such as recognizing, analyzing, solving problem, and etc. Asking open-ended questions. It asking divergent questions or questions with many appropriate answers in order to develop high-order thinking skills of students. Allowing for sufficient wait time. Teacher gives students sufficient time to formulate a response or an answer to a given questions. Assessing comprehension. Teacher asks questions in order to test the comprehension or understanding of students and in order to know that the students are listening or not. Involving as many as possible. Teachers distribute questions to as many as students. So let's proceed to how to improve questions techniques. First, know your own styles of questioning. Second, request a colleague to critique your own style as to A. Kind of questions often asked. B. Amount of wait time provided. C. The type of responses required. Third, increase your own repertoire of type of questions. Consider the individual abilities and interest of the students. Spend time reflecting on the type of questions you ask. Let's proceed now to the tips on how to encourage questions from students. So first, the teacher's questioning techniques is the key to encouraging students to ask correct, relevant, and high-level questions. Her questions can be served as a good example. So, since curiosity is nature to the students or children, questioning techniques of the teacher are helpful for them in order to encourage them to ask correctly. The teacher's questions are also serve as a good example. Second, attend to their questions. Avoid dismissing irrelevant questions. Assist in clarifying or refocusing in order to solicit correct responses. So pay attention to the students' questions and concerns and also help them to understand or explain their concerns in order for you to receive or achieve the target or correct responses. Third, praise the correctly formulated questions. It develops confidence and make knowledge search easy and satisfying. And last is a lot of appropriate time slot for open questioning. This will encourage the slow thinker to participate freely.
Handling pupils' response. Sometimes we teachers take our reaction to our student response for granted. We forget how crucial this part of teaching is. By the way we handle our students' responses, we either encourage or discourage them from actively participating in class interaction. The following technique can help. Number 1. Provide feedback on correctness or incorrectness of a response. In providing corrective feedback, remember that the reaction that's wrong can put off or embarrass a learner. Be more tactful. Give a hint or break down the question if necessary to guide the learner to correct response. Explain the correct answer when the learners cannot arrive at it. Initially, ask easy question to enhance the student self-confidence and to encourage active participation from everyone. Number 2, giving appropriate praise to high-quality responses. In giving appropriate praise, match praise to the level of difficulty of the question answered or to the quality of response given. Vary acceptance reaction. As someone said, there are 99 ways to saying okay. Remember that a slow learner needs more praise than a fast, confident one. Be discreet, lest the faster ones think that praise is only for the slow learners. Number 3, making follow-up questions. Remember that follow-up questions should logically relate to the preceding questions and the learner's response. Follow-up questions should be characteristically developmental and directed towards a better, deeper understanding of the topic being discussed. Clearly state short follow-up questions elicit better response from the students. Number 4, redirecting questions. In redirecting questions, certain questions deserve to be answered by more than one learner. Take advantage of this opportunity to promote creative or divergent thinking. Some students need a reformulation of the question for better understanding. Be sensitive in accommodating to such need. Number 5, following up a student response with related questions. In explaining the questions or answer, slowly repeating or replacing certain words in a question may be the way to enable a student to give the correct answer. On the other hand, other students may need to understand better an acceptance response to a questions. The student can feel the teacher interest in them when their needs communicate directly or through nonverbal behavior are accommodated. Number 6, replacing the seemingly unclear questions. In replacing the seemingly unclear questions, replace unclear questions by using terms of idioms familiar to the students. Avoid long and complicated sentence structure in asking questions. Number 7, showing nonverbal encouragement. In showing nonverbal encouragement, cultivate the habit of conveying positive meanings through your body language. Body language, particularly a teacher's facial expression during recitation, communicate a message of encouragement or otherwise to students. Eye-to-eye contact, a smiling face, and encouraging hand gesture remove fear of embarrassment from the student. Number 8, encouraging learners to ask questions. Watch out for students who seemingly have problem about certain response. Encourage them to bring out their questions. Create a communication climate which encourages pupils to provide additional information or give comments that can add to understanding.